Last week, we got a whole bunch of new information about Microsoft Flight Simulator from a brand new Q&A with the developers. Much of that revolved around the Xbox release and the performance increases in Update 5. You've seen all of that talked about in my previous video. In this video, I want to talk about some additional information that Asobo discussed during that live stream. So let's start with photogrammetry. Around the world, there are many different photogrammetry cities. Many of these are located in the United States. Of course, in recent world updates, there's been additional cities placed in, such as Paris and London and many others. And what's happened is that as time has moved on, people have noticed that the newer cities look much better than the older ones. And this simply comes down to the level of data, the quality of data that is being used for these types of cities. Asobo stated that some of the data used for photogrammetry cities, some of the satellite data that is, or the aerial data that they used rather, is as much as 7 years old. And based upon a few comments on the internet, I won't be surprised to see if at least some of this data is older still. Now, these old cities, these ones using the older types of data, are eventually going to be completely refreshed using fresh data. No word just yet, however, on exactly when that will happen. Now, Asobo have in the past spoken about water, sometimes in the terms of water masks, other times in the terms of tidal effects. Now, Asobo do want to take a look at water again and improve its behaviour. They didn't go into exact detail on what that specifically means, but there's many different aspects about the oceans and the rivers and all those other beautiful areas that could do with a bit of improvement. This work is something that's going to take place next year. This kind of leads us on to the subject of what happens after the Xbox launch. Well, refreshed cities and water improvements look to be at least one of those things. Another thing that Asobo are going to be turning their attention to is VR. And this is completely understandable. After all, if we take a look at the weekly development updates and check out those long lists on the VR wish lists, we can see there's a load of features that people want added into the sim. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these features that Asobo are going to add next. Moving on, and sticking with the theme of future editions, well, the potential for future editions at least, one of the questions that did come up from chat during the live stream Q&A was on the potential addition of AMD Fidelity FX. To answer this, Asobo effectively seemed to be saying it seems unlikely, although I know they are investigating the addition of NVIDIA DLSS as well. The bottom line here though, the takeaway point seemed to be that Asobo appeared to be quite happy with their own implementation of this type of technology. And for an example here, Asobo simply pointed to their usage of render scale combined with temporal anti-aliasing. Do let me know in the comment section below whether or not you feel that this is doing a good enough job, or whether you'd prefer to see NVIDIA and AMD's tech involved in the process. Finally, there's a couple of additional points that I wanted to bring up about the Xbox version of the sim. Now, many people are wondering whether or not this will be a genuine sim on both the Xbox Series X and the Series S. Well, to kind of assist with this, Asobo have added support for both a keyboard and mouse. Additionally, the Thrustmeister side stick is working with the Xbox, and Honeycomb have also announced that they will be adding support to the Xbox for their Honeycomb Yoke. So some decent amount of support there. I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out. Additionally, the question, how will the marketplace work on the Xbox? Well, the answer to this is that all the content that Asobo themselves make, as well as their first-party partners, all of this will be available on both the PC and the Xbox. And also, you only have to buy it once. When you make the purchase, it will be available on both platforms. That is, so long as you buy the content through a Microsoft store. For Steam, it will be quite different. When it comes to third-party developers, this is purely the decision of the third party. However, Asobo have said that most of the third parties have opted in to make their content available on the marketplace for the Xbox. So again, that's an area I'm quite keen to see how it's going to work. Now, talking about add-ons, there's this brilliant one I come across this week, released a couple of weeks ago actually, called 4 Seasons. Now, the 4 Season pack adds a whole bunch of new content to the sim worldwide. This includes 17 new ecosystems, which feature over 45 different trees, shrubs and bushes. These will be specific to the region they're located in, such as the Joshua trees in the Joshua National Park, and of course the bamboo forests in China. Also, some amazing looking coloured fields full with wildflowers as well as grown flowers can be seen dotted around the various locations in the world. And of course, they've also added in 3D trees which can be seen in famous locations such as Madagascar and Hawaii. And all of this is tied together very nicely by seasonal changes, which also takes into account for northern and southern hemispheres. You can find a link to this in the video description. Currently it's priced at €20. That then brings us to an end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.